Hello and welcome to Martini's Eco and Country Bites. Today, finally get to do a recording. Had some problems going on with StreamYard and issues with, I moved again, so that's always news. And today I'm having a great chat to Farmer Wade over from Billboard Battalion from Victoria, having a bit of a chinwag about the same issues we've got going on in Western Australia and around this beautiful nation with green renewables and the impact that that's having on land and in the ocean. And we've got Wade joining me here. Oh, if I can get him on. Here we go. Look at that. Almost professional. Hello, Wade. How you doing?
G'day, Martini. How you going there, mate?
Oh, I'm still kicking.
Well, it's like I say, when people say it to me, I say, yeah, I'm still alive and kicking. It does irritate some people, but anyway, you get that.
Well, that's the way it goes. We've all got our role and we've all got to do what we've got to do that's authentic to our own journey. So for me, I'm still stirring the pot and keeping vocal about the offshore wind turbines, and certainly wanting to touch on that and connect that to the onshore wind turbine issue that's going on in Victoria. Gosh, it's just the pushback is inspiring. That's one thing I will say. I'm going to talk about this community. Okay, right here. This is the community of Oberon. Wow. These people, I'm going to put a call out. There's a community meeting this Thursday, 23rd. Anyone that's in the Victoria area, you need to get yourselves there and start educating yourselves, if you haven't so far, about the issues that all these communities are being steamrolled. Wade, what's your feedback on that? I've had a few more connections with people in Victoria. We've got the same here in Scott River and areas north of Perth. What's going on over there? What have you heard from your crew?
So there is a hell of a lot of pushback here, and they're planning on putting in a lot more. So as they're planning on opening up more and more areas of these things, that's involving more people. But what we've got, I just see up over the river here. If my information is correct, one of the power companies has just given a community, and I believe it's up over the river in the Southern Riverina here, has just pledged $1 million for them to build some sort of a childcare centre or something like that. So it's you're playing against some pretty dirty tactics. Not that I have anything against childcare centres, of course, but this is how a lot of these power companies are doing this, and causing huge rifts in communities, which is what they actually want, because they want communities fighting against each other as opposed to fighting as one against the power company.
Well, if our government had its priorities right, it'd be there making sure that there are adequate childcare centres, that kind of stuff. Those facilities actually built for us, for Australians, out of our taxpayers' dollars. There's something novel. How's about that? Yeah, and I think this is the problem. This is all by design. The government's just like completely flailing on all the really immediate issues that need to be addressed with housing, like childcare centres, schools, roads. Oh my God. Like we could go in medical systems, new medical centres, upgrading of hospitals, but yet they're throwing billions here at foreign corporations to come and destroy our food security, destroy our land and contaminate it, because we do know that through the shedding of the blades, we know that all the oils and other contaminants that come off the wind turbines, that this is posing a major risk, because you can't get insurance when it comes to selling lambs or sheep, lambs and cattle that have been grazing on these areas. In some areas up north, it'll be goats that graze on the area, and this is all going to be considered contaminated land. They're trying to make exemption, but we know the game plan here with totally what you said about the divisiveness and taking away food security. my friend, what are farmers saying now? Because I know that there was, you can't keep them out. There's a $1,200 fine if you try and prevent these companies coming on your land to say, well, we're having a whole high-powered grid going straight through the middle of your farm, or we're putting wind turbines through here, and we have to have access to your land to have the high-voltage cables coming through. What's happening there? I know Oberon are one of the communities that are pushing back hard. What other communities there?
So the fine here in Victoria, if you try and block their access, is actually not $1,200, it's $12,000.
My apologies, sorry.
Just a touch over 12 grand, and that's at the minute, you know. So what I consider is that we've seen a lot of changes, as I continually talk about, with the signing up of Australia to the WHO International Health Regulations and the One Health policies, etc., which we're going to see that kick into gear and just take farmers down. You know, and I have a lot of concern for the safety and well-being of many of the farmers who just say, we're just going to lock the gate, bring the tractors up, block off access, etc. Because there's a lot happening around the world now in that exact kind of thing, where farmers are just being taken over by government bureaucratic departments. They're coming in there with department officials. They're coming in with police, and they're just removing people off their land and locking them out of their land, and destroying their livestock. And like, everything's bad about that. And I'm trying to warn our Australian farmers. This is where it's at. This is the stuff, the heavy-handedness that we're going to be dealing with. So this is why I always say, let's come together and look at the big picture stuff and bring the entire community along with us. So,
yeah,
you know, these governments, people have got to. These governments, they are above the law now. They are working for the WEF and the UN and the WHO. They don't. There is no law here that contains them. You know, they just do whatever they want, and this is exactly what we're seeing in Canada. In England, if you don't play the game, they just arrest you and chuck you in jail for 2 years.
You know,
I know
if you push back against the narrative. My God.
Well, in Victoria here, interestingly enough, we've got some farmers here to say, well, we're prepared to be arrested and go to jail. So that's how serious people are around here. But I still don't think they quite understand the magnitude of what they're fighting against, because they'll not only end up going to jail, they'll lose their farm, the whole deal. You know, this is, and I think in Western Australia now, a place that you might know a little bit about, we're hearing people who are supposedly associated with certain political groups. The minister in WA is now going and sending the cops out to take their guns off them, cancel their shooter's license, cancel their driver's license, cancel the registrations on their cars and their vehicles. So this is where this is all going. And I can tell you right now, their plans are to just anybody who does anything against the government will be shut down. No license, no car, no registration, no phone, no home. Like, you know, so we need to really come up to speed as communities and all band together. Then we've got the fighting force and the capacity. So I must say, it's terrific to see how much work and effort you're putting in raising this awareness with your communities, bringing up how critically important all this stuff is, and above all, how dangerous all this so-called renewable energy is, Martine.
Yeah, because this is no longer about what's right for Australia in any way, shape or form. It's not about our constitutional rights, our legislations. We've thrown all of that out with the bathwater and the baby and all the endangered species, any other rights that we had, all went out the window. they're making it up as they go, and it is all aligned to the World Economic Forum agenda. And people are just going, "Oh, that's rubbish." But it's like, look, more and more people are starting to see that, because the legislation that's coming through, and they're just putting through without anyone there and in sitting. This is what's happening, and people are starting to wake up to the level of corruption that's going on. I mean, it is truly, truly alarming to see that people can still be in some kind of cognitive dissonance and think that this government actually has our best interest, what's right for this nation, our industries, and going to put Australians first. We know that that ended some time ago, well before the COVID drama and hysteria, scam, whatever you want to call it. I try to have a calmness about me with this, but, you know, as far as I'm concerned, what you've just said about banding together is what we've got to do, my friend. I know that the farmers in WA joined us on the steps of Parliament House back in March, and that was about ending net zero, because it's the climate hysteria and net zero agenda coming from the World Economic Forum that does tie a lot of this together, a lot of it. Then there's other parts of it that obviously come on top of it and in layers of tyranny, as far as I'm concerned. And I think that what we need to do is, this is perhaps today we're putting a call out to all of your viewers, and certainly from Edge Radio Australia, all the other platforms that are out there that are sharing this, all the communities, and reaching out to yourself and myself here at Edge Radio Australia, Martini, Eco and Country Bites. We need to come together, land and sea, because what's happening with the farmers is happening with the fishermen. So this is where people need to understand this is a total deconstruction of everything that we love and has been the backbone of this nation. So I've been telling my family, who are farmers for many, many years now, that the government is coming in to destabilise everything that we hold dear. Our communities are being dismantled. They are putting so much pressure on farmers that they will cave and have to be land hosts to these green renewables and other ventures, I think, that are planned in the future also. And that's the thing. They're not going to just stop with this ideology if we don't stop it now. And so for us, we do have a symposium coming up. We're going to give that a plug. And this is something that I'm hoping that we will... Oh, my gosh. I think I've forgotten to pop it in. No, that's it there, I think. There we go. The ugly truth about offshore wind turbines. This is Perth. The symposium is on the 7th of November. We are hoping to bring this to Victoria as well. Currently, we're still waiting for sponsorship, and we're hoping to lock that in the next week. So anyone that's listening, whether you're a farmer, fisherman, or anyone else that's got an industry that's reliant on good, solid baseload energy supply as a manufacturer, perhaps, if you'd like to come in and support this, it's actually just a small contribution to make sure this gets across the line. It's vital to have these experts here discussing what's happened overseas. These people have lived this for 10 years. These people are experts. You get a chance to ask them face to face what we're looking at, what's going to happen, and what's happening in Victoria is diabolical. Gippsland, wow. They have 11 licenses out. We only have 3 in WA so far. 11 licenses to build offshore wind turbines along the Gippsland area. I know that we've shared this map before. Basically, if you can join Tasmania to the Victorian coastline and fill it in with a whole bunch of turning killing machines and a whole bunch of substations that look like oil and gas rigs, they're essentially the same, and they're going to cause massive issues. I know you might not be a big fan of going and fishing, mate, but I reckon there's a lot of farmers that are.
Without any doubt, Martine. And I mean, you know, one of my mates here a while ago, he said, "Oh, come out in the the sea off Portland there, and you go fishing. Oh yeah, what are you fishing in? Oh, this boat. What are you looking for? Sharks. I said, mate, I looked at his boat and I said, mate, I'm going out. If I'm looking for sharks, I'm nothing short of a battleship, a destroyer at the least. So, that's my whole idea of fishing. I'm not really, it's just never been my thing really. More hunting, I think, is my caper. But as you said, and this is a very, very big demographic that the government, I think, don't actually know what to do with, because, I think fishing is probably one of the biggest sport and pastimes in the country. So, there's a lot of power there and a lot of clout in the fishing fraternity. And, I think, as you rightly say, it's a matter of making them aware of what this stuff is all about. I know, and I've seen your stuff plenty, and other people's things about how bad it is for whales and et cetera, et cetera. And we get a lot of whales off the south coast of Victoria here. And all the exploration and the seismic equipment to do all that sort of thing. This is if this was actually necessary in real terms, if this stuff had credibility, then you'd have to say, well, we've got to cop a bit of that. But it's a complete and absolute fraud. It is a lie. It's a con. So
money laundering.
It shouldn't be there at all. And it does make you wonder, where are all these greenies? Like we talk about this a lot. And, when I was up in Queensland there, presenting up in, some of the high country there in Queensland, where are the greenies going crook about them knocking over all this old forest? Just take the top off mountain ranges, killing the koalas and that. Where's all these greenies, mate? As I said before, as a farmer, if you chop down a little piece of a sucker or something like that, you end up getting hung, drawn, and quartered and shot 3 times. So, as I said before, Martine, these people, this government and these companies, certainly they are a law unto themselves. They are above the law. The government makes sure of that. So, it is a matter of us getting the information out to the communities. And I was talking to a bloke actually there, I don't know, back probably about May. And he was talking about the fishing industry off the coast of SA, South Australia. So,
oh my God, look what's happened there with the algal bloom and the devastation they've got going on. Like, as if we need to give more destruction and stresses industry into our oceans. Like, this is insane.
It is. And I mean, they're wanting to shut down the fishing industry off the coast of South Australia. And as you're
same
rightly
as Esperance in the outer.
Say that again, sorry, Martine.
They did the same with the fisheries in our south, where they declared that Southern Marine Park. Remember, they've cut them out down in Esperance, and all of those beautiful areas that have some of the most pristine beaches, sustainable fishing practices. But this government and this state government threw it all under that community, all under the bus. And that is expanding. And so this is why we know the discussion on one side is to get us this, and then the backhander is this, where they go, oh, well, if you're concerned about the environment, we're going to lock it out for everyone. That's exactly what they're planning, and we're on to them. And if people don't think this is the truth, you need to pick up the phone and speak to some of your local fishing organisations, your co-ops in your state, and start saying, what's the government doing to shut your industry down? What kind of legislation have they changed? What kind of taxes are they putting on you? Because when it comes to carbon taxes, how much do you think they're going to hit up fishing as well as farmers? Like, this is where they are coming for sustainable produce, sustainable industries that keep us strong. More than anything, you know what I think, Wade? I look at these industries and it's all male dominant. And that's not having a go that there probably are many women involved in the fishing industry. And certainly there are a lot of women that are farmers or farmers' wives, or they do this together. I'm not taking that away from them. What I'm saying is that when it comes to the pride, when it comes to a man knowing that he's doing the right thing day in, day out for his family, contributing to this nation, it's what he was born to do. It's his legacy. It's part of his heritage. It comes in generational fishing and farming, and they are attacking that to totally degrade the male. And I'm going to keep saying this as a female, that I will not stand by and let these masculine dominant industries be destroyed, because these strong men is exactly what we need in this nation. And they need to stand together and together fast, because we are pushing back now. As the expression says, it's ride or die time. So it's like everyone needs to get their riding boots on and get ready to go, because this is going to hit us hard if we don't push back. We're looking at October. We've got 6 weeks before Parliament starts to shut down. You know how dodgy these buggers are, and they rush things through the last second of Parliament so we can't push back. That's my prediction.
Well, I mean, getting men to stand up and have a bit of courage and so on. That's sort of been a little bit of a theme I've been talking about just recently. But having said that too, this is a full community effort, and it's not just about farming. It's not just about fishing. The government,
landowners too, yeah.
Well, the government, who are nothing more than prostitutes for the WEF and the UN and the WHO, are in the business of shutting down everybody's land, denying you access to, just look at what's happening with all the high country, all the national parks. They're in the business of locking it down, shutting it down in Gippsland. They basically destroyed the logging industry a couple of years ago. And my information is that they've got some of the companies, or a company or something like that, who used to be in the logging industry. The government have now paid them to go and tear up all the roads and pull out the bridges and culverts up in the high country there. So you can't get access to it. I can't confirm that's right or not, but this is what I've been told. And it makes sense if you look at the government wanting to shut down the high country and turn it all into national parks where nobody can go there. So this is an entire across-the-board community effort, because this is one of their big ticket items in terms of the 15-minute city, Great Reset, shut the whole place down, make it so that you can't have electricity, and create areas that are under the climate change modelling uninhabitable. So this is very serious stuff, Martine. So what you're saying is slap bang on the money.
It makes me angry, and I do have to keep myself very sort of centered and grounded about how I channel my anger and make it fuel for being absolutely tenacious, to the point where, I'm blacklisted from a lot of people. I'm banned from a lot of people's pages.
Can't see that at all. No, I can't. I've got no idea. No.
So I know that the fishermen are right peed off, most of them. However, that's only particular industries and those that have started to question the narrative. So here we are, from WA, Victoria, and all around Australia, as a call out to our fishermen and farmers. We need to unite, and we need to do it now, because we are facing the same enemy. And absolutely, this is what it is. We are being treated like a bunch of criminals for standing up for our own human rights, constitutional rights. And all of that is being taken away and degraded day by day by this government, as you said, that sold us out to World Economic Forum, sold us out to the GOA Agreement, which is the Global Offshore Wind Alliance, sold us off to Paris Accord. The Paris Accord is where it sits for the land-based wind turbines and solar arrays, but offshore, that's something different. That's where this insanity became just a deal driven by Denmark, the nation. God, Mary, what a disgrace. You came from Australia and this is what you're thinking you're going to do to this nation. Oh, mate, boy, does that tick me off. You might have become Danish, but we remember where you came from. So trust me, pretty much your name's Mud now, Mary. So probably don't come back here anytime soon. So Denmark was behind it all. And this is why so many Danish companies from the Netherlands, we've got the French, we've got the Spanish, all in on this money grab, and that's what it is. Without this money that's coming from hard-paying taxpayers, just the insanity is, it's, I keep saying it, it's like me going to a country and going, I'm going to open the pizza shop. I want you to find me the shop, and you want you to give me all your ingredients, and then I'm going to ship everything out, and I might give you a slice of pizza at the end of the year, but I'll negotiate that. But thanks very much for helping me out and doing everything, but I'm not going to give you anything because all the profits are going over there for me. And people go, oh, no, it's not. It's like, it's exactly what it is. Because what they're saying is that they're coming in to give us, I mean, probably it's not even, because probably if I do manufacture pizzas and give it to someone, at least that would be real. This is not. This energy doesn't even exist. We see the diesel generators that are hooked up to the offshore wind turbines in the ocean. So who's going in there to fill them up? I mean, this is where I go, how the hypocrisy has got to the point where people think that this is good for the environment. The amount of, if they're going against CO2 and oil and gas and whatever, this is not the solution. This is a Ponzi scheme. Things are starting to look really rocky, and I'm really happy about that because there's a few things that have come out recently. There's some articles here where we've got some wind proposed. This is one in Victoria that's pulled the pin. Brilliant.
Yep.
We've got a couple more here. I think, where's the other one? Maybe it didn't load. That. Nope, it's not that one. I'll talk about that in a minute. Holy guacamole. Yeah, okay, let's talk about this. This is the elephant in the room. When we're talking about steamrolling communities, when we're talking about destroying industries. So when people go, oh, how is it going to impact fisheries? If people like to go and buy fish and chips and you like to have some calamari or anything else that just puts on your plate, makes you feel good, you need to understand their fishing licenses, and those licenses are based on spatial distribution. So what happens is that if a large area is locked out by the wind turbines, what happens is that area is very narrow. It's completely narrowed to the point that fishermen, instead of having, maybe 20, 30, 40, 50 kilometers between where they have a catch area or a take area, whether they can go and put their like lobster pots out or go wetline fishing or have like octopus, squid fishing, all of that. What happens is that gets squished in. What happens then? Oh, guess what? The government's saying it's no longer sustainable because you're taking out too much out of this area. So licenses are going to be cancelled, just like farmers cancelling the live sheep export, cancelling all of these things. They're doing the same with fishermen. Now wake up, join the dots and realise that we're all in this together. And I tell you now, it is get up off your bums, get vocal, start pushing back and start picking up the phone and calling these people and joining the dots yourself. Do your own investigation. Get online and see what's happening to the fishing industry and what's happening to communities on the coastal areas. It's happening in WA. We know that in the fishing industries here, they've already got the absolute thumb screws on them by the government. They're trying to completely destabilise the organisations that keep these fishermen strong. It's a bit like what happened with, the cereal industry, where crops that farmers were selling, it's those middle people that they either get completely compromised or they're so manipulated that the government has done things that change the legislation and how they can function. Can you believe it? Stopping the functionality of like co-ops, stopping the functionality of all of these organizations so they can no longer exist, so they'll dissolve. And guess who's all on their own? Fishermen. Could you imagine a fishing industry that's got to, each fisherman's got to fend for themselves, try and sell and negotiate selling overseas and selling locally, distributing. Like, that's exactly what's happening, and it's exactly the same as what they've done with the farmers, Wade.
Look, this is spot on, and this is government's specialty. This is their field of expertise, is to take industries and make them unviable. And I have spoken a lot about government, their psychological and economic warfare against particular industries. No better example exists than the dairy industry throughout here in northern Victoria and southern Riverina.
WA.
And also then I'd extend that, of course, to irrigated crops and that right through the Murray-Darling Basin. The government have the power through legislation to destabilise complete industries, to make them unviable, or to make them so shaky or unreliable that investors pull out or that farmers pull out. And, we've seen this happen time and time again. The electricity industry, in fact, has been one of the major areas where the government's done this with constant, and if we go back 25 years ago, constant talk of changing from coal to this other crap. So therefore, you had a lot of companies wouldn't invest. They were too frightened to invest because they didn't want to go and spend their money and then find out in 2 years' time the government's banned it all. So, and this is the government's, they specialise in destabilising and sabotaging all our industries. And once again, and this is a thing that we need to say constantly, Martine, is that this is a deliberate sabotage. It's a deliberate strategy. This is the intention. This is why they do it. So that's an even bigger wake-up call for community and industry to, as a whole, come together and push back. And why we continually lose in Australia is you can't get industries or different groups to work together. Even in the ag sector, going back to the mid-'80s, dairy farmers that we were trying to get to go on strike, some would, some wouldn't. So therefore you can't win because you've got people who are traitors and they won't support the cause because they think they're doing okay. Until a little bit down the track, all of a sudden they're getting the bullet between the eyes. So the same thing's going to happen with all this electricity stuff, wind turbines on land, off land. They're eventually going to just shut the whole thing down. So we need, as a community, go, no, not on our watch. We're on to you.
And the more that we can have these conversations, the better we're going to be informed to not only join the dots, but know where to go and get the right information and do our own research. And that's the issue, is that people have been so complacent for too long and thought, well, it's not that bad. Oh, it's not that bad. Oh, they still, and then now it's like, these guys are a bunch of idiots. I'm like, really? You've just worked that out, have you? It's like, I still have people say to me, geez, you said this 10 years ago. I'm like, that's correct, because I did my research. So when you go and look at what the World Economic Forum plan was, and I'm going to say it again, and so is Wade, if you have not gone and investigated what the plans are for the World Economic Forum to destabilize nations, to take away the backbone industries, to make us nothing but cricket and bug-eating consumers, where we don't have farms, we don't have our own industries, we don't manufacture. Why do you think they destroyed manufacturing? It's been a rollout for decades. This has been part of the plan. And people are like, oh, no, it's not. It's like, go and look. When you destabilize, take away manufacturing first, what happens is your biggest industries start to fade. The one thing that they won't go for is mining. And the reason why they won't go for mining is because the nations that are trying to shut us down know that we have the best resources in Australia. So that's the one thing they won't let happen. However, it comes to a point going, so what? Mines are going to have their own little energy systems up there on location, and the rest of us will be on the deadly treadly pedaling every night to keep the lights on and the fridge going so that we can exist. Really, that's what the plan is, that we're going to have solar arrays, the roof covered in solar panels. Well, do your research about EMF that comes off that. So if you're going to put solar arrays on your property and be off grid, go for it, but do it smart. Don't put it on top of your roof where you're going to be exposed to that. I'm going to tell you now, like, do your research, do it smart, and get yourself wise, because as you've been saying for a long time, and a lot of people have been saying for a long time, Wade, that Australia has been way too complacent. I'm going to share something that came up today. I got, this week. So I had these maps sent to me. So this is just south of Mandurah, between Mandurah and Bunbury. And this is just at the very sort of top end of where the offshore wind turbine zone is going to be in Western Australia, top of Geograph Bay. So what was interesting, there's a whole bunch of data sets over their GPS points. And these GPS data sets are coming up on the GPS of the fishermen. And guess what these little buggers look like, hey? What does that look like? Pointing in a direction, looks like there's blades coming off them. So they're already out there working out the spatial displacement. It hasn't even been given the thumbs up. It hasn't even gone through the necessary processes. But here are the GPS points and the data sets that this, obviously, federal government is just rolling ahead and working out before anyone has had any science-based research. So what's the point in this whole charade? So we have this marine surveying. So talking about that, I got contacted and I spoke to a fisherman in Victoria, and he said when the marine surveying went through at the beginning of the year, all the pippies died. So pippies are something that make up quite a large area of burying organisms that filter feed, and they're essential to the food chain. So when we have disruption en masse to food chains like that, we've got problems. And that happened at the beginning of the year. And they said that the rock lobster, or the lobsters that were out there, they call them crayfish, they all disappeared. And when the fishermen went out to go into the usual areas that they fish from, they weren't there because the marine surveying had caused so much disturbance to them. I would call it compounded trauma, because the sparkers that go off cause them to go into trauma mode, and that's what happened on the East Coast. So we're already seeing that now. That's why we have experts coming to speak to everyone. That's why I'm saying to everyone in WA, if you can get your butts on a seat in Fremantle, November 7th, you need to come and listen to these experts worldwide. This is not only an Australian first for discussing all the issues. It's a fully integrated kind of perspective here, all the issues that's related to the offshore wind turbines, especially the impact on fisheries. But you're going to have real experiences told by people firsthand that have been in this for the last 10 years. So all I can say is that the time to rise up is now. And all I can say is to my beautiful Victorian friends, family, people I haven't even met yet, but I look forward to meeting you, giving you a hug, shaking your hand, because you're probably doing the hard yards like the rest of us.
Yep.
We need to get over there and to bring this awareness to Victoria, because Victoria has been completely and utterly thrown under the bus. Your beaches won't even be worth visiting. That's all I can say. You will not have a fishing industry. You won't be able to go out and fish, because what will happen is you're going to have such a loss of diversity of fish. And when the whales go, well, if people understand what whales do, whales are actually the farmers of the ocean. And they're like, what do you mean? I said, well, not only do like tilling the soil, which I'm not saying that that's the way to go, but with mixing of the water, oxygenation, and disbursement of nutrients through defecation, death, and birth, that is essential to the marine life that exists there. Without whales, that will decline. That is why fisheries have recovered so much, because, especially in WA, the numbers of humpbacks are off the charts, which is great. And we don't have the right to then go in and put in infrastructure that's going to cause their decline again. Certainly, the pygmy blue whales here are still endangered. They're still under threat. So why would we be putting it in the area that they know they're found? Like, I have to just exhale sometimes, because this nation has been run by psychopaths.
Yes, absolutely. Psychopaths and sociopaths. And just sort of say, to give you a bit of an idea on how good these government disastrous people who run things, right? Here in the Murray-Darling Basin, in the Darling River and down into the Murray River here, they actually stuffed things up so bad. These so-called environmental scientists, just scumbags is all they are. They wrecked the river here, and they had what they call blackwater events, which saw them kill, over 100-year-old Murray cod. And I can tell you right now, I personally saw many areas around here where the crayfish were actually out of the river up on logs because they couldn't breathe. Yeah. Now, these half-wits, this is how, and I won't say how dumb they are, because this is being done deliberately.
Yeah.
They're deliberately doing this. And the same thing is going to happen in our oceans. They are so hell-bent on wrecking stuff. That's what their specialty is: destroy nature. So once again, we're all these drop kick greenies. But the other thing about it to say as well, Martine, right, is this: you talked before about the planning. It's already on the paperwork, and they've got these images and the GPS locations for all these towers. What we found right back from the days of the Murray-Darling Basin Plan, the North-South Pipeline here in Victoria, and now what they're finding with all the renewable energy so-called public consultation meetings here in Victoria and places, and I'm asked to go and speak at a lot of these places, right? And they have all these public consultation meetings, which are nothing more than just a box ticking exercise, because they come and they make out they're asking the public, but they're not, because the deals are already done. I know with the North-South Pipeline
behind closed doors.
The Labor government went to the election saying we're not going to put a pipeline over the Great Divide, and they already had the pumps and the pipes ordered. So this is what people have to be aware of. You're being scammed, you're being conned by governments and politicians who just lie their guts out. And you are the loser constantly. Our country is the loser constantly. So it is time to wake up and take a stance.
Okay, Wade, time to put the word out. Call out to our farmers, call out to our fishermen in Victoria, WA, all around this amazing nation, because what's going to happen is eventually it's going to hit every industry. They'll find some reason to shut them down. Because it's not about food security. It's not about making sure that we have our rights intact. All I can say is to Victoria,
Martin, is they are attacking our food security and our energy security. They're two of the big. They're the big ticket items.
Yeah, well, if you destabilize a nation fast enough through, how long do people think that a nation will thrive or exist without the lights on, without energy, without food that comes from this nation? Doesn't have to be shipped or flown in. If we can't see that this is what this is about, then God help us. Because all I can say is that's on you, not certainly on me, because I, all day, every day, put my head on the chopping block
Yes.
for
Yes.
no money. I do this voluntarily, not only through Edge Radio Australia, but as the campaign coordinator to save our beloved Geograph Bay. I'm out there banging the drum, not just for the
Yep.
offshore wind turbines, but all of these industries, because I did my research. I'm going to put this up again. You have a lot of community in Western Australia that follow you. I know a lot of people. It's like, oh, I saw Wade's interview the other day. And I'm like, did
Beautiful.
you? Who was he giving it to this time? This is what I was saying. It's like, yeah, he was out here giving them. It's like about the fireys, and it was about that. So call out here. This is for WA. We want to hear from Victorians as well, because we need to come and bring your version of the symposium to you, because we need to get the truth out to your communities. Because I can tell you now, if this goes ahead in Victoria, there is no coming back. The devastation between Victoria and Tasmania is beyond comprehension, my friend. It is diabolical. I'm going to share some maps, and maybe what I'll do is a bit of an outlay for people that you might be able to show between Victoria and Tassie. I'll send that to you so you can see how bad things are.
Yep.
And the link for people to get their tickets, please reach out to Wade or myself, because we need to get farmers and fishermen united, because what they're doing to this nation is pure evil.
It absolutely is, yes. So you're
Any
talking.
final words, my friend?
Well, you're talking about a symposium down in East Gippsland. Is that correct, Martine?
Related to the Gippsland offshore. We're
Yep.
still waiting to, we've got a meeting coming up in the following days regarding locking in the location. But all I can say is that from my perspective, from someone who's coordinating this, I will be choosing the best location that is going to have the best outcomes for Victoria and the best outcomes for people to have access to that, and it's going to be supported. So however we're going to make that work, we've got to make it work. So please call out to anyone that has a little bit of extra cash in their back pocket that might be able to help get us across there, because at this point, the sponsorship from those that would normally have put their hands in their pockets, unfortunately, the pennies are running dry, because this government has put so much pressure on so many people, and things are already starting to look very dire. I can't go into details, but all I can say is act now, get up off your bums. So we want to bring this to Victoria and ASAP, because they need to hear this from the experts. They need to see all this information and data, this science, because that's what this government has stopped. This is what has been withheld, the truth.
Yep. Yep. And that's the way they run it all the time.
And you and I stand for truth.
Absolutely, you bet. Yes, that is exactly what we do. 100% correct.
Thank you, my friend, for joining me again today. I know that we'll be chatting again very soon.
And thank you as well, Martine, because I know the workload that you take on, as do many others. But I mean, you're unbelievable across there in Western Australia. We've had a bit to do with you over the time. The first time we met you, you were on fire, going on about the things that you go on about, fighting the fight for WA. And, we need more people like you to be standing up across there. We need more people to get switched on. And that doesn't matter what group you're from, what industry you're from, what demographic you're from. We need people who are going to stand up and tell the truth and fill people in with what's actually happening on the ground, and more importantly, where it's going, because we are in some very, very serious trouble. I'm here to tell you. So well done to you, and thank you for everything that you do. Because there's not many people who actually get it, if you know what I'm saying.
No, they haven't been able to join the dots. We're going to keep joining for them. This has been Martini's Eco and Country Bites on Edge Radio Australia. Thank you so much.